Remember that you are an actor in a play, which is as the author wants it to be. Short if he wants it short, long if he wants it long. If he wants you to act a poor man, you must act the part with all your powers, and so if your part be a cripple, a magistrate, or a plain man. For your business is to act the character that is given you and to act it well. The choice of the character is another's. Epictetus. Imagine for a moment a stage. You, the main character, amidst a whirlwind of chaos and tranquility, joy and sorrow. In this grand play of life, we often find ourselves adrift, swayed by external forces, reacting rather than acting with intention. But what if you could change the script? What if, in just 30 days, you could transform your life, not by changing the play, but by changing how you act in it? Welcome to the world of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's as relevant today as it was in the bustling streets of ancient Rome and Greece. Picture Stoicism not as a dusty book on a high shelf, but as a practical toolkit, ready to be wielded in the art of living well. This isn't just about enduring life's slings and arrows, but about thriving amidst them. But wait, before you shrug this off as another self-help gimmick, ask yourself, aren't you curious to see what life looks like when viewed through the lens of some of the wisest minds of antiquity? What have you got to lose, except perhaps the chains of unexamined habits and unchallenged fears? This isn't just theory. Through real-life examples and simple exercises, we'll see how these ancient ideas are surprisingly applicable to our modern lives. Think of it as a chat with a wise friend who's been there and done that, and is now handing over the map so you can navigate life's tricky terrains with a bit more ease. So, are you ready to turn your life around in 30 days? Stay with us, and by the end of this journey, you won't just be reading about Stoic principles, you'll be living them. Remember, it's not just about surviving the play of life, it's about performing your part with excellence, whatever role you've been given. And don't just take my word for it. Try it. Challenge it. Question it. After all, what's more stoic than questioning and testing the path to wisdom? Number 1. Understanding what is within our control. Some things are in our control and others not, wrote Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who knew a thing or two about control. After all, he started life as a slave. In our modern world, with 24/7 news cycles, social media, and the relentless pursuit of more, Epictetus's words are like a lighthouse in a stormy sea. But what does it really mean to understand and embrace this concept? Firstly, let's get something straight. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless or suppressing feelings. It's about distinguishing the line, often blurred, between what we can and can't control. Imagine trying to calm a raging sea. It's a futile effort. Now, imagine adjusting your sails to ride the waves. That's Stoicism in a nutshell. What's in our control? Our actions, our thoughts, our reactions. The way we choose to perceive a situation. Whether we respond with anger or patience, kindness or hostility. It's like being the director of a movie set in your head. You can't control the script of life, but you can certainly direct how you play your part. And what's not in our control? Almost everything else. The weather, traffic, other people's actions and thoughts, the past, the future. Worrying about these is like trying to teach a cat to bark, an interesting idea, but ultimately pointless. Here's where it gets practical. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, already late for an important meeting. Your pulse quickens and frustration mounts. Now pause. Is the traffic within your control? No. But your reaction to it is. Take a deep breath. Turn on some music or an interesting podcast. This moment of frustration can be transformed into an unexpected pocket of peace or learning. Or consider relationships. Ever tried changing someone? How did that go? Stoicism teaches us to accept people as they are, not as we wish them to be. It's about controlling our responses to others, not controlling the others themselves. But wait, you might say, doesn't that mean giving up, becoming passive? Far from it. It's about proactive acceptance. It's recognizing that shouting at the rain won't stop it from falling, but grabbing an umbrella can keep you dry. Here's an analogy. Think of life as a game of cards. You can't control the cards you're dealt, but you can certainly control how you play them. The skilled player makes the best of any hand. The unskilled player blames their loss on bad cards. Incorporating this principle into daily life isn't just liberating, it's empowering. It's about taking responsibility for what's yours, your actions, your thoughts, your life. So, next time you feel the grip of frustration tightening, ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, let it go. It's not resignation, it's wisdom. And if it is within your control, then ask, how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and goals? Remember, understanding and practicing what is within our control is not just a Stoic lesson. It's a ticket to a more peaceful, productive, and purposeful life. Why not give it a try? What have you got to lose except perhaps a few needless worries? Number 2, the power of perception. Life is what our thoughts make it, proclaimed Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor who had his fair share of troubles, from plagues to invasions. If he managed to keep his cool under such circumstances, perhaps there's something to this Stoic perception thing, right? Perception in Stoicism isn't about rose-colored glasses or blind optimism. It's about seeing things for what they are, and then choosing how we frame them in our minds. It's recognizing that the glass isn't half full or half empty. It's just a glass with water up to the midpoint. But how we choose to see that glass can dramatically affect our lives. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion. You can view it as a personal failure, a hit to your self-worth, or you can see it as a nudge to reassess your career path, perhaps even an opportunity to pursue something more aligned with your passions and skills. Same situation, different perceptions, vastly different outcomes. It's like being stuck in a black and white movie and suddenly realizing you have the power to turn it into color. The scenes haven't changed, but the way you view them transforms your experience. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who reportedly said after his laboratory burned down, "Thank goodness all our mistakes were burned up. Now we can start fresh again." That's the power of perception in action. Instead of wallowing in despair, Edison saw an opportunity for a new beginning. Now let's get practical. How do we harness this power? First, by becoming aware of our automatic thoughts. Next time you face a challenge, pause and listen to the narrative in your head. Is it defeatist? Critical? Or is it open to possibility and learning? Then challenge those automatic thoughts. Ask yourself, is there another way to view this situation? It's like being a detective in your mind, searching for clues for a more constructive narrative. This isn't about fooling yourself or ignoring reality. It's about understanding that our interpretation of events shapes our experience more than the events themselves. It's about choosing a perspective that empowers rather than diminishes you. Here's an analogy for you. Think of your perception as a paintbrush and reality as a canvas. The scene you paint is influenced by your strokes, colors, and techniques. The canvas provides the outline, but the final picture is all yours. Remember, adopting a new perspective isn't an overnight miracle. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. But the payoff is immense. A shift in perception can turn a life of enduring into a life of enjoying. Never forget the power you hold in your perception. It's the secret ingredient to a more fulfilling life. So why not experiment with it? Play with perspectives and watch how the world around you changes. It's not just about seeing the bright side. It's about realizing that there are many sides, and you get to choose which one to focus on. Number 3, living in accordance with nature. Follow nature was a mantra for the Stoics, but let's be clear. They weren't talking about hiking through forests or swimming in the ocean, though that's great too. For Stoics like Seneca, living in accordance with nature meant aligning with our essential human nature and the natural order of the world. Sounds profound, but what does it look like in everyday life? Think of it this way. We all have roles in life: parent, friend, employee, citizen. Living in accordance with nature means embracing these roles fully, and doing our best within them. It's like being cast as the lead in a play. You don't just show up and mumble your lines, you dive into the character, giving it your all. But it's more than just fulfilling roles. It's about understanding our innate rationality and social nature. As humans, we're wired to think, to connect, to collaborate. When we ignore these aspects, we're like a fish trying to climb a tree. It's possible, but it's a struggle and, let's face it, a bit ridiculous. This Stoic principle also encourages us to accept life's natural flow, the changing seasons of life, if you will. It's recognizing that there are things we can't change, aging, the laws of physics, the fact that chocolate has calories, and adapting to them with grace and acceptance. So how do we practice this in the modern world? Start by identifying your roles and responsibilities. Are you a parent? Be the best parent you can be. A friend? Be there for your friends. A member of a community? Contribute positively. But it's not just about doing, it's about being. Are you living true to your values? Are you using your rational mind to make decisions? Or are you letting impulses and whims dictate your life? It's like being the captain of a ship. You can't control the sea, but you can steer the ship. Consider the analogy of a gardener. You plant seeds which symbolize your actions and decisions. You diligently water these seeds, nurturing your relationships and responsibilities. However, it's important to acknowledge that, just like a gardener can't control the weather, there are external circumstances beyond your control. So, after putting in your best effort, you simply let nature take its course. Remember, living in accordance with nature isn't about passivity, it's about alignment. It's finding that sweet spot where your actions, responsibilities, and natural tendencies come together in harmony. It's not forcing the river to flow in a different direction, but rather swimming with the current, using its power to propel you forward. Now it's time to reflect on your life. Are there areas where you're swimming against the current? How can you realign with your true nature and the nature of things? Embrace your roles, use your rationality, connect with others, and watch as life aligns in a more fulfilling way. Number 4, the role of virtue. When the Stoics talked about virtue, they weren't just throwing around a fancy philosophical term. They saw virtue as the very essence of a good life. But what does living a life of virtue look like, especially in our modern world? It's not about being a saint or a moral superhero. It's about striving to be the best version of ourselves in our everyday lives. Think of virtue as your inner compass. It guides your decisions, actions, and interactions. The Stoics focused on 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Let's break these down. Wisdom. This isn't about being a trivia champion or a human encyclopedia. It's practical wisdom, knowing how to act and react in various situations. It's like having an internal Google Maps for life, helping you navigate through life's twists and turns. Courage. No, you don't need to start leaping off buildings or facing lions. Courage, in a Stoic sense, is about moral courage, the bravery to stand up for what's right, to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about facing life's challenges head-on, not hiding from them or pretending they don't exist. Justice. This isn't a legal concept. It's about fairness, kindness, and doing the right thing. It's treating others as you would like to be treated, whether it's in personal relationships, business dealings, or your role in society. Temperance. Often misunderstood as moderation in eating and drinking, temperance is about self-control and balance in all aspects of life. It's not letting any one aspect, whether it's work, pleasure, or even virtue itself, dominate your life. Now you might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I apply this to my life? It starts with small steps. Next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, ask yourself, am I acting wisely? Am I being brave in a moral sense? Is this fair and just? Am I maintaining balance? Here's an analogy. Think of your life as a garden. Yes, we're back in the garden. Each virtue is a type of plant. You need to nurture them all to create a balanced, beautiful space. Over-focus on one and your garden becomes lopsided. Neglect one and your garden loses some of its beauty. Incorporating virtue into your life is like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. Start with small acts of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and watch as they grow into a life of deep fulfillment and purpose. Remember that the pursuit of virtue isn't about perfection. It's a journey, an ongoing process of becoming the best version of yourself. Embrace it with enthusiasm and patience, and watch as the virtues transform not just your life, but also the lives of those around you. Number 5, practicing mindfulness and presence. In our fast-paced, distraction-filled world, the Stoic practice of mindfulness and presence is like a breath of fresh air. But what does it mean to be mindful and present in a Stoic sense? It's not just about meditation or deep breathing, though those can help. It's about being fully engaged in the here and now, aware of our thoughts, actions, and the world around us. Let's face it, our minds can be like overexcited toddlers, running wild and dragging us along. We're often either thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But as Seneca wisely pointed out, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Mindfulness in Stoicism is about bringing that overexcited toddler back to the present moment, where reality, not imagination, resides. Imagine you're having dinner with family or friends. Instead of truly being there, you're thinking about a work project or scrolling through social media. You're physically present but mentally miles away. Stoic mindfulness would have you put down the phone, push away the thoughts of work, and engage with the people around you. Listen to their stories, enjoy the flavors of the food and the sound of laughter. This is living in the present. But it's more than just soaking in the good moments. It's also about facing life's challenges head-on, without the distraction of what-ifs and if-onlys. It's confronting difficulties with a clear, focused mind, handling them with grace and rationality. So how do we cultivate this mindfulness? Start by paying attention to your thoughts. Are you constantly fretting about the future or dwelling on the past? Gently guide your mind back to the present. It's like training a puppy. It takes time, patience, and consistency. Then make it a habit to fully engage in whatever you're doing. Whether it's a task at work, a conversation, or even a mundane chore, be there fully. It's amazing how even the simplest activities can be transformed when we're fully present. Consider the analogy of a photographer. A good photographer is fully present in the moment, aware of the light, the scenery, and the emotions. They capture the essence of the moment because they're truly there, not distracted by thoughts of the next photo or the last one. Remember, practicing mindfulness and presence is a journey. There will be times when your mind wanders. That's normal. The key is to bring it back, again and again, to the present moment. This is where life happens in the now. By being present, you're not just experiencing life more fully, you're also equipping yourself to handle life's challenges in a more calm, stoic way. Take a moment to pause and notice your surroundings, your thoughts, and your feelings. This moment, right now, is what life is all about. Embrace it, live it, enjoy it. Number 6, developing emotional resilience. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without challenges, but it does offer a way to build emotional resilience, turning us into the equivalent of a well-crafted sea vessel capable of weathering even the fiercest storms. Emotional resilience is about responding to life's challenges with strength and flexibility rather than breaking under pressure. Think of it this way: life throws a lot of curveballs. Disappointments, losses, changes. Emotional resilience is your ability to catch those curveballs and throw them back, or at least set them down gently, without letting them knock you off your feet. How does one build this resilience? It starts with perception. Remember the Stoic superpower we talked about earlier? It's about seeing obstacles not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to grow and learn. Like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise, our emotional resilience strengthens every time we face challenges with a positive, proactive attitude. Take the example of a job loss. It's easy to spiral into despair, to feel like a victim of circumstances. But what if you saw it as a chance to pursue a career more in line with your passions or to learn new skills? That shift in perception lays the foundation for resilience. Stoicism also teaches us about the impermanence of both good and bad times. Just as pleasant moments pass, so do the difficult ones. Remembering this can help maintain a balanced perspective when facing life's ups and downs. Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds gloomy, but it's a resilience-building exercise. It involves visualizing challenges or setbacks and mentally preparing for them. Think of it as an emotional fire drill. When you've already run through how you might deal with a crisis, if and when it happens, you're more prepared and less likely to be overwhelmed. Another key aspect is focusing on what's within your control, your efforts and attitudes, not the outcomes. You can't always control what life throws at you, but you can control how you catch it, or if you choose to dodge it altogether. Let's use an analogy. Think of life as a game of poker. You can't control the cards you're dealt, but you can control how you play them. Emotional resilience is about playing your hand as well as you can, regardless of whether it's a good or bad hand. Building emotional resilience is a journey. There will be times when you feel like you're floundering in the sea of life. That's okay. The key is to keep swimming, keep learning, and remember that with each stroke, you're becoming stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. Number 7, the concept of Memento Mori. Memento Mori, remember you must die. This might sound morbid at first, but in the hands of the Stoics, it's transformed into a life-affirming mantra. It's not about obsessing over death. It's about using the awareness of life's impermanence to live better, to live fully, and to focus on what truly matters. In a world obsessed with youth, beauty, and accumulating stuff, remembering our mortality puts things into perspective. It's like a wake-up call, reminding us that our time here isn't infinite. So what are we doing with this precious limited time? Are we sweating the small stuff, or are we focusing on building meaningful relationships, pursuing our passions, and making a positive impact? Think about it. When you remember that you won't be here forever, the petty grievances, the pursuit of material excess, the fear of judgment from others, all these start to lose their grip on you. You begin to live more authentically, more courageously. It's like clearing the clutter from your house. What's left is the stuff that matters. Stoicism teaches us to use the concept of Memento Mori as a tool for reflection and prioritization. It's about asking ourselves regularly, if this were my last day, week, or year, is this how I'd want to spend it? It's a powerful lens that brings clarity to our choices and actions. This isn't about being morose or living in fear of death. Quite the opposite. It's about embracing life, the joys, the sorrows, the whole package, with open arms and a clear mind. It's about living in a way that, when your time does come, you can look back with the satisfaction of a life well lived, not with the regret of what could have been. An analogy to consider is that of a sand timer. Each grain of sand represents a moment of your life slipping away, never to return. Watching the sand slip through doesn't fill you with dread. Instead, it motivates you to make the most of each grain, each moment. Take a moment to reflect on your own life in light of Memento Mori. What changes would you make if you remembered more often that life is finite? How would it change the way you speak, act, and love? Let this awareness guide you to a richer, more meaningful existence, where every moment counts and every choice is made with the full understanding of its weight and significance. Now, as we stand at the crossroads, the question remains, how will you use these Stoic principles in your life? Will you be the actor who embraces their role no matter what part you're given? Will you be the gardener who tends to the virtues, nurturing a balanced and beautiful life? Will you be the photographer who captures the essence of the present moment? Remember, the choice is yours. These principles aren't just to be listened to, they're to be lived and practiced. Start small, apply them consistently, and watch as your life transforms. And if you found value in this journey, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, subscribe, or comment. Spread the wisdom, share the journey, and let's build a community of modern Stoics, navigating the complexities of life with grace, resilience, and purpose. Thank you for joining this journey of Stoic wisdom. Here's to turning your life around in 30 days, not by changing the world, but by changing how you interact with it. Remember, it's not about enduring life, it's about thriving in it.